So as we go to 5 red lights for the Bahrain Grand Prix here in Tier 3, the first round of the season, the lights are off and off the drivers go, foot to the floor, and looks like Fetch got a pretty decent getaway. It looks like Darius as well got a pretty good start as well on the second row. However, you can see Benjo there in the background looking to make an overtake, and there's been tapped there, and Fetch has gone round. And he might have been tapped round by the Williams. We can see there as well the king of all there in the background. Fetch has lost a lot of time due to that spin. Benjo, I don't know if it was the person who span it, as he has received a penalty for that, but Fetch is out from pole. He is now in 11th. Ben Agnew has made some positions as well there in the background. Fetch as well is trying to make up some positions as well. There might have actually been an incident between J-Beast and Kitchen One Eye. We can see there's CGM as well making an overtake on Jordan as well in the Mercedes, and into turn 10 they go. Who is going to be the bravest? As you can see there, Jordan just has to back out as he was looking for an overtake on the Alpine. However, the Alpine had a pretty poor exit. Jordan tapped to the back of that Alpine slightly, and now Jordan is going to try and make an overtake on the Alpine. We're going to ride on board with the Alpine. Will he be able to keep Jordan behind? Yes, he does. And we can see there in the background, I think there's a Mercedes and a Haas making a move as well. It's going to be Jordan on Cambrica and Ben Agnew on 5 ways into turn 1. And that was a pretty good move for both of them. Jordan now up into P4 and Ben Agnew up into P6. And Ben Agnew is going to want to try and make a move on the Alpine. However, you can see the Alpine going to go for a dive on the Mercedes there to try and retake P4, but has to stay behind for the time being. And the Haas might actually get the overtake on the Alpine as well. As you can see, they're around the outside of turn 6, and they've been tapped round there. We can see Fetch as well burning all of his ERS, or some of his ERS. He's going to try and make a move on the Mercedes. No, he doesn't. He stays behind for the time being. As we can see there, Cambrica making a move on the AlphaTauri, and that was a pretty easy overtake by the looks of it. And further up the field, CGM not able to make any overtakes. Cambrica, though, is actually still battling with this AlphaTauri round the outside of turn 4. And does he make it stick? Will he get the better exit? Yes, he does. The AlphaTauri is still there on the inside and is entitled to racing room side by side. And Cambrica just edges ahead. And that is the Cambrica up into P7. There is still an AlphaTauri though on the inside. And I think it was the king of all who actually went for a send on the Alpine, but wasn't able to make the overtake. The two AlphaTauris now are now in front of One Eye in the Ferrari. The two AlphaTauris are still battling. One Eye gives the AlphaTauri a little bit of a tap there on the back. And the AlphaTauris are going to go side by side. Are they actually going to try and fight this, or are they going to use some teamwork? And you can see One Eye in the Ferrari is going to try and make an overtake on one of these AlphaTauris. That's why they needed teamwork. But One Eye is going to hold it around the outside of turn 11. And will he be able to just hold off on that AlphaTauri? He's got the inside for turn 12 and it's turn 13. Will he just be able to keep it on the inside? He does. And that is One Eye, who has made a position on one of the AlphaTauris. Good driving from the Ferrari driver. The two Mercedes just trying to stay in front, but we see CGM there making an overtake on Benjo, and CGM Glass is now up into P2. Has to still defend though from the Ferrari slightly. However, look at that, CGM Glass has gone for an overtake on his own teammates as well, and CGM has just made a double overtake on the home straight, and CGM is now our new race leader. In the background, we can see Benjo, who's going to try and get past one of the Williams, but he has to stay behind for the time being, as there wasn't enough room to make an overtake there. And Cambrica in the background there, I think, has spun, unfortunately, out of turn 3. As we see there, a bit of contact with the Ferrari and the AlphaTauri, and the Ferrari is actually still going to try and fight this. I thought he was going to give the position, but no, he's going to go side by side with the AlphaTauri. The AlphaTauri had to really step out of that, and other two Mercedes going to try and work together to try and keep Fetch behind. They know he is quick, but how quick will Fetch be able to be? He needs to try and break one of these Mercedes. However, we see there 5 ways going down the inside of his own teammate. Are the two Mercedes actually going to think, you know what, let's you know, all 3 of us, let's have a fight. Fetch now, is he going to try and make an overtake on one of the Mercedes? He brakes late and he goes down the inside of turn 4, and he does give the place, and he does get past, and leaves the space on the outside for 5 ways. Good overtake, but instead it is in front of him. Will Fetch be able to make an overtake on Jordan into turn 11? He is going to go onto the inside and into turn 11. You don't usually see overtakes into turn 11, but Fetch round the inside, leaves the space on the outside. What an overtake that was from Fetch, and keeping behind. However, we see there Fetch moving off very aggressively to cover Jordan off, but it's going to be a pretty easy overtake for Jordan there. And I think even Five Wise has got past as well. So Fetch has been absolutely swallowed by them. And you can see there Fetch has had a pretty poor exit. And that has allowed the AlphaTauri to get in on it as well. And we can see there that both Mercedes going onto the racing line and the AlphaTauri there trying to make a move on the Mercedes. But they won't be able to. So yeah, Fetch has lost 4 positions in that corner. He is now back down into P7. And look at the AlphaTauri. He is making a move around the outside of the Mercedes, but he stays behind for the time being. The king of all is going to get overtaken there by Ben Agnew. Ben Agnew saw a gap there and he went for it. And I'll tell you what, he's made it work. Ben Agnew up into P8. And we can see Fetch there as well, battling with the Mercedes. He isn't going to go for a move into turn 8. Fetch with DRS, and I assume he will be using ERS. Is he going to try and make a move on one of these Mercedes? But no, we see Five Wise making a move on Jordan. And that is a pretty easy overtake. However, Fetch there has tapped the back of Jordan there slightly. I don't know if Jordan will be reporting that. But Fetch did not concede the position though. He gave it back. Whether he was supposed to, I don't know. But then down into the next straight, he thinks, right, I'll let you through. I'm gonna get you back now. So that is Fetch now back up into P6. But Fetch is looking very quick. He wants to get this move on the Mercedes. However, the Mercedes has played a little bit of a game there. He's given the position to Fetch, and that means Five Wise will get DRS. So maybe his Five Wise done that to maybe give Fetch, or maybe make Fetch vulnerable for this straight. But has Five Wise actually done the right thing? He is closing. He is closing. Is he going to be able to overtake Fetch? It's going to go side by side through turn 1. But Fetch, Five Wise tried to play the game. Tried to be smart about it. Give Fetch. However, where's Fetch? Fetch has spun. I don't know what happened, but Fetch must have spun it. Is Ben Agnew going to try and make a move? He has gone for a move. Ben Agnew has. And you can see in the background, Fetch is on the inside and he's trying to hold it. It's still going to be side by side, but Ben Agnew has just got it done. But Fetch will have DRS. Is Fetch going to try and make a re-overtake into turn 4? He's going to go down the inside. Is he latest on the brakes? He is ahead, but Ben Agnew with a better traction on the outside is going to keep it. Fetch gets a little bit twitchy on the rear end, but Fetch, despite that, still able to just get the traction down. Ben Agnew with DRS now. Is he going to try and make a move on the McLaren? He does. Fetch gives a little bit of a move over to the right, but stays behind for the time being. And that is Ben Agnew back into P7, and Fetch has spun again. Benjo is going to go side by side with the AlphaTauri. There probably was a bit of contact there, and you can see there both of them have. However, CGM going down the inside of Five Wise. Sorry. Jordan was the one that pitted, and that is a pretty easy overtake for CGM, and is now going to have to try and fend off Darius. It's new tires versus old tires, and you can see there Darius just with a lot of confidence on those new fresh hards. Just sends one down the inside into turn 8 on Five Wise. Ben Agnew down the inside of Benjo. It's going to be side by side. Who is going to be the best on the traction? I believe it probably was Ben Agnew. Benjo had a little bit of a slide, but Benjo, despite the slide, was just able to stay in front. But will Ben Agnew try and make a move into turn 8? No, he doesn't. He stays behind for the time being. Benjo looking quite close to Ben Agnew. Jordan has actually left the session, so Jordan might be a bit slow for a few laps. But despite that, we're going to look at this fight. Is Benjo going to be able to get past Ben Agnew? He's going to go down the inside, and he has. He's gone for a massive send and outbroken himself and nearly cuts the track. And you can see there Ben Agnew just using the switchback to absolute perfection, even though he was going to get the move anyway. But Benjo massively outbraking himself into turn 1. But here we now see Five Wise and the King of All going side by side into turn 11. Who is going to be the better out of this? And the Five Wise goes around the outside. And with the fresher tyres, he is up into P7. King of All with the DRS now on Five Wise. He goes for a send though. He goes down to the inside. A lot of contact. And I think the King of All just gave the position back. I didn't think he was actually going to go for a move, but he has the better exit by the looks of it, going out of turn 1. Is he going to try and make an overtake on the Mercedes again? He does. He leaves enough space. Might have been a short bit of contact there. It's a bit of wheel banging. It's side by side through turn 5 and 6. Fetch is already on the back of that AlphaTauri. And there's a virtual safety car as Hetz has retired from the session. So, who is going to pit? CGM has just gone past the pit entry line, so he isn't going to be able to. Darius doesn't pit either. Benjo, sorry, has taken the gamble. Who else is going to go for it? I believe One Eye has gone for it as well. Five Wise has stayed out. I believe there's an AlphaTauri as well who has benefited from it. Fetch stays out as well. So they are going to get positions on track. And are they just going to use their mediums, their fresh mediums, to just try and keep in front? So is Five Wise just going to try and preserve his tyres so he can probably have a bit of a better chance to try and defend off Fetch. But we see there Jordan going down the inside of the King of All. Was able to catch up. However, the King of All there, still down the inside of turn 3. And despite Jordan having arguably the better line, the King of All managing the switchback. Jordan there still trying to make a move, but the King of All with much better traction in those tyres than Jordan's 8-lap-old softs. King of All stays in front. He is on the inside though, but he stays behind. I would be suggesting the same thing. Get DRS and trying to make an overtake now. And you can see there Jordan is using ERS. The King of All goes very defensive to the inside. Jordan then goes back out to the outside. Turns off his ERS as he is already past the AlphaTauri before turn 1. And now Jordan can just try and keep this. However, the King of All goes for a send there. Goes quite deep. The Jordan goes for a switchback. And it's still going to be side by side through turn 3. Who's going to get DRS? It's going to be the King of All. Is the King of All going to try and get past Jordan? Jordan then covers off the racing line. The AlphaTauri still on the inside. Contact there. However, the King of All stays in front now. As we see Fetch go down the straight, CGM comes through the final corner on the player map, as you can see. And he will take the win here at Bahrain. And his teammate, Darius, will finish in P2. To take a fantastic 1-2 for Williams. Probably was a good contender to win this race, but he will only have to settle for P5 as Ben Agnew will take P3, and then Five Wise will finish just ahead of Fetch in P4, and then One Eye 10 seconds behind Fetch will pick up P6. I'm sure his penalty won't demote him behind One Eye, but you can see there, or behind King of All, sorry. One Eye will take P6. King of All will take P7. Benjo finishes in P8. Jordan will finish in P9. And then Cambrica will finish P10 after they cross the line.